I'm on it. I'm on.
Peace, world. How you doing? It's your brother Mikey Fever. Welcome to another episode of NYP Talk Show, the realest podcast within this conscious space. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. We got super chats. We have merch on the website. We also have advertisement packages for people that's looking to advertise their businesses. We can help you with that as well. For a fee, we got you. Peace to the world, peace to the chat, peace to the nation of gods and earth, peace, salam alaikum to this nation of Islam, Islam to the Moors, Ibobo to my voodoo people. You know what I'm saying? Ashe, bendiciones to my Ifa, Lokami, Santeria people. I'm just shouting you all out, yo. Ibobo to my Asian people, man. Salam alaikum, walaikum salam to this Palo family. All right, so we here, man. Tonight we have a special guest by the name of Keng El Bey, who will be talking about the legal system and how child support works. Welcome to the podcast, Keng El. How you doing, brother?
Honors, my brothers. Honor, my brother. Honors. It's an honor to be on here to chop it up with my brothers. I'm gonna set the air, straight about this child support. That's where my first area of law started. I do other things, but I'm tough. I'm letting you know I'm tough, and everything I talk about, you can fact check.
Got you. So let's go into it. How can help us understand what child support is and how does it work on the legal front?
So, child support is an obligation owed to a minor child, right?
Mm.
So, it's a lot of people that talk about child support, and so it's an obligation owed. So, it's things that you have to understand. So, that means you owe an obligation. So, the court wants to set a record or a standard in which that they can record and monitor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot of brothers don't understand, if you already doing what you do, the state under Troxel versus Granville, the court can't interfere with fit parent decisions, right? So if the mom ain't on welfare, right, or even if she on welfare, if y'all decide certain things, the court don't supposed to come in and disturb that, right? Their relationship, their parent-child relationship. But they will assign someone that's the non-custodial or the custodial parent, depending on how state, and you also can deviate from them standards when there is extraordinary circumstances that can be rendered into the case itself. So a lot of brothers don't understand under how this mechanism of child support works. So they hear a lot of things like child support is fraud. It's not fraud. So so I tell brothers all the time. They say, well, you can dismiss it on intrinsic or extrinsic fraud. Now, on service of process. So the thing about it, once you appear, this is why I tell brothers, once you get in the courtroom, the judge gonna clear all that up. Now you there. They're not going to say, "Oh, this is fraud." They might kick it back out, but now you at court. Now the judge is going to order you to come back. All they're going to do is reestablish the support order. They just, okay, we're going to throw that out. Now we're going to restart it from here. And depending on your state, right, this is where it get murky. Some states, even if the child is 18, they say the mother never finds you. Like in Ohio, the mother got up to the age of 25 to file child support.
But before you proceed with that, I wanted to ask about that. You mentioned something that in regards of the state cannot get involved if both parents have an agreement or whatsoever the case may be, right?
No, they don't supposed to disturb. Disturb, right?
All right. But say, for instance, there is a something already in function, right? And not every situation is the same, but depending on the circumstances of the relationship amongst parents, maybe that parent may want to go to court for the sake of I want to get more money and in the matters of I just want to have the courts handle this instead of dealing with this individual. Is there a way the court could is there a way that you could keep the court out of that? Um movement?
Well, if she go to court, ain't no way you gonna keep the court out of it. What the court is going to do is look at everything and say, okay, let's look at what's going on, and then they're going to analyze it, and then they're going to draft based on what you know how to present and argue is how you're going to get your remedy. Most brothers don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So there goes. So I tell brothers, if your baby mama filed child support, you go file for custody.
Yeah.
Automatically go file for custody visitation. Why? They don't know the circumstances. So in my state, the mother is deemed the custodial parent until a court of competent jurisdiction deem otherwise. So you got to go in there and present your information. For example, if your baby mama is not allowing you to see the child and you got proof that you've been providing care and all of this, the court supposed to look at all of that and analyze that. If one parent is isolating the other parent, that parent is deemed to be doing something that's not in the best interest because the best interest of the child is the child supposed to have both parents, have equal access to both parents. And if
Mm.
one parent is sabotaging that relationship, the other parent can use that. And I tell brothers to keep good records of everything, document everything. Calling her, she's texting you, keep all those records so you can present that to the court to show where this is different than that. Now, sometimes you can file a motion to stay support until the court make a determination on custody because those are two different courts. So child support and family court is two different, right? So they're
Mm-hmm.
going to be heard at two different courts. So you got to learn how to leverage the game, right? You got to know what's going on. And a lot of times, like in my situation, my baby mamas, they just wanted to get revenge. It wasn't about I wasn't
Went
taking.
to alienation. You went through all that.
I went through all of that. I fought for years in the court. I'm talking about years, like a decade straight, trying to get
Mm.
things settled, right? Eventually winning a lot of things in court, winning custody of one of my daughters, getting child support settled in the other case, um,
Mm.
because I kept good records. You got to keep good records.
Mm.
So the thing that I try to tell brothers to do, understand what your how to go in there and argue and present evidence. Most brothers don't do a affidavit of income or affidavit of net worth. They don't go in there with their showing what, like for example, if you and the baby mama, you was living in a one bedroom and you went and got a two-bedroom for your child, that's an expense that's
Mm.
supposed to be accredited. If you get carry medical and dental and life insurance, and the other parent's supposed to pay the half of the bill, right?
Mm.
That can be accredited, right? If so, now you can say, well, look, she's not paying half of the bill. Now
Mm.
you could go back to child support may not do nothing, right? But you could take that same information and take it over to child. So let's say the court awarded you visitation and you say, well, look, Your Honor, I'm getting stuck with these steep bills. She's not paying, I'm paying my half, she's not paying hers. Now the court's got to assess that.
Mm.
They have to assess that. They're going to tell you, oh, because child support, the only thing they're going to tell you is you're going to probably have to sue her. You might have to sue her in small claims. And then you take that small claims judgment and you take it over to the court and show them how she's not holding up to her end of the bargain, which is causing economic hardship.
Mm.
And now these things are influencing the relationship due to the fact she's not paying the bill, and now you get bombarded with this bill that she's not paying causing economic harm. Now that's affecting how you can move with your child because it's going against your credit. These are things that you can pull your credit report that you can introduce to the court and try to leverage the playing field when the mothers are being hostile. I'm not telling brothers and sisters to squabble over this, but I'm trying to show how to leverage, how to go in there and think. And
I'm glad you said that. Hold your thought for a second. I'm glad you said that. Again, we just having an interview with the brother here. It's my first time hearing this. We are not um advocating for men not to take care of their children, nor are we advocating for parents to be at odds and squabble with each other in court. The main concern is for the child or children. He's just giving us some legal strategy and some information. Because unfortunately, a lot of us do fall into that, where you got to go to court for the sake of a child and play all these legal games when there were no courts involved when the child was being created. You get what I'm saying? But unfortunately, it leads down that path, and then that's where the expenses come in, as far as getting legal advice, and it's a nasty game. But we have you here to talk about it. I just wanted to add that in there, man. Go ahead, bro.
so what I need us as adults to understand when our community implode on herself, when we put the child in the middle, it causes the child that may have to pick and choose, and it causes the child to have um, issues, right?
Hmm.
The child start having behaviors because it's trying to figure out, it's trying to find its way in life, and they need both parents to give them that guidance. So what we have to understand, right? That's the game that they playing. They using us as pawns in this Ponzi scheme, right? They're using us because they making money. You see, we don't understand how this system works, right? The Child Support Enforcement Agency is an agency. They get their money from government funds that come from tax dollars. So
Hmm.
you're paying for your own demise. And a lot of this stuff with these statutes and agencies, who you think who paying for it? We are through taxes.
Yeah.
So we fighting each other, and they setting us up for the situation, and they the ones who get reaping the benefits, not us, because that agency wouldn't exist if we can get our head in the game.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Because those are tax dollars. Now, guess what? If you eliminate that agency, that money can go towards something else that's needed in the communities.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So when you don't understand the game, we perpetuate this. So just giving some understanding when you want to fight and go through all of that, it's a way to go about doing things. Because they want us to have children and be at odds because they already got a plan for us. And this is what I'm going to keep it so real for us. If we don't plan for our children, they already got a plan for our children.
Of course, of course. I want to ask you a question though, right? In regards to this term, um, along the year we have heard people come up with different so-called remedies and ideas of what this system is, child support is. When somebody is like enforced to pay child support, does the state view the child as a ward of the state? Because it's like
Mm-mm.
the fact that they stepping in, that
The
the
state
child views the ward as the state or something.
Now, the state, what they call is parents' patria.
Okay.
The state is looking at the minor as the minor is the best interest of the child standard. They're saying, look, this child can't speak for itself. And it's the state as best interest to locate the father so the
Hmm.
state don't have to carry the burden of caring for the child.
Yeah.
So the child is not technically a ward of the state.
Okay.
No, that's not how it works.
All right.
Um,
I'm glad you
so
clarified that for me. Because I've been hearing wild stuff like that. I just wanted to ask that
Nah,
question.
nah, you're not child ain't the ward of the state. Nah, that ain't how it works.
Okay. So what legal standard must be met to modify or challenge the order of jurisdiction in regards to child support?
So, so for example, if the child is born in another state, but you
Mm-hmm.
live in New York,
Mm-hmm.
so let's say the order was established in Ohio, but you live in New York. The father can challenge jurisdiction, say, well, jurisdiction, since she moved to New York, she didn't report to the state of Ohio that she's moving to New York and that she hasn't got an order to transfer jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm.
So he can make her come all the way back, right, to the state of Ohio because they had original jurisdiction over the
Mm-hmm.
child support.
Yeah.
So when brothers think they can say, go into court and say, I'm gonna challenge jurisdiction, that they're not gonna win on that because they got jurisdiction. First of all, they got territorial jurisdiction, which is
Mm-hmm.
they got territorial sovereignty over the whole country and
Mm-hmm.
the inhabitants that live in this country. So that's not gonna work. That's number one. Number two, if you inside the state, they got jurisdiction. Unless you can prove that you're not a resident of the state, let's say I'm coming to visit New York, but that's still the child can be born and I might have to then ask for, the state to send me New York this they might send me an order of child support, right? I have
Mm-hmm.
to respond. I don't get to ignore just because it comes from New York, but I can ask the state of Ohio how to go about jurisdictional issues since I'm a resident of the state of Ohio and the child was born in New York and the mama is from New York. I can I can ask the court um, for what they call you can ask for where you can have a neutral state, and there's ways to go about doing that. But if the child is technically in New York, New York will have original jurisdiction, and you will have to deal with that. That's not necessarily you have to come up to New York, but you could do it via Zoom. You could have a hearing. You could do it via mail, and they can write your orders and all that. A lot of people think that you have to drive up. No, there's ways to go about handling all of that.
I got you. I got you. So now we understand how the system works. Um, what arguments? Like you mentioned something earlier about parental alienation, right?
Right.
And you said that family court is separate from child support.
Yeah.
I know because I've been there. Listen, I know it's separate. They don't care what's going on. Like all they care about is we want the money.
They want the money. That's all they
Like
here
we
to
don't.
talk about. They don't care
Yeah,
about
like
the custody issue.
yeah, we don't care. So what? You're not seeing that. So what? You know what I'm saying? Just get the money and because automatically when you go in there, and there are some guys who are like not the best, but to hear the cases like there are a lot of men out there that are actually dying to be part of their child or children's life, and they are meeting so many obstacles. And you could go to court, express it to the magistrate or the judge, and they're looking at you like, so what? You're a man. You're guilty. Bad enough you coming in there. You got dark melanin, you melanated skin, so you coming in here, you're automatically guilty. That's how they look at you. You know what I'm saying? You pray to God you got your receipts in order or something like that. Somebody could speak on your behalf. But how can like a man, for instance, you don't have a lawyer. How can you prep yourself for a case like that? Because it's like you're against all odds in there. You know what I'm
Well, you
saying?
got to start reading the statute. You got to read case law. You got to read and understand what's going on. So, child support. I learned child support early. I went through it for a long time. So, the thing that I'm working with my brother Raheem, we're gonna put a father's rights program together. It's gonna be probably in New York and Ohio starting off, and we're going to be helping fathers understand how to deal with this because this is becoming an epidemic. I went through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the state didn't care. Um, the lady told me my daughter had been staying with me for years. Um,
Mm-hmm.
my family, actually, my daughter was always embedded with me and my mom. My daughter, my mama pretty much raised her until she was like 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah.
Um, and she was always with us. And I was caring for her, paying for everything. Her mama didn't give me a dime.
Mm.
But the court didn't care because they told me when she filed for support, they was like, well, I showed them all the records. I said, I got the documents. Mama says the child live with me. How I'm gonna pay child support? It's like it didn't matter. You ain't go to court and get a court order. I said, why do I gotta go to court and get a court order?
Yeah. Exactly.
So this is what they telling me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they was like, well, we gonna slam you. You a male nurse. Bow. We gonna smack you over the head.
Yeah,
So
of
I
course.
ended up I ended up having to pay for two kids, brother. I ran out of there so mad because they wanted like 2 grand. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying, a month.
Mm-hmm.
And this is 20 years ago. My 20 some years ago. My daughter, like, how old is my daughter now? She's 23.
Mm.
See what I'm saying? They ain't consider all of that. I was paying daycare. They ain't look at all of that. I didn't even know. So I hired an attorney. I gave him $1,500. He told me I didn't pay him to file motions. They just ran me over. So I was like, man, I done gave you 1,500. So
Yeah.
it made me have to start reading and digging and inquiring. So through
Mm-hmm.
this father's rights program, because child support is going to vary a little bit from state to state, but not that much.
Yeah,
It's,
definitely.
it's, it's a baseline across the board. It's a way to do a lot of things. In which, when it comes down to this child support, um, I'm all over it like white on rice. I know all the tricks, all the things. I know every ounce of it because I spent a long years of my life making sure I
In and
know
out
that.
those courts, right? You lived in
Yeah,
those courts, basically.
I lived
Like,
in the courts.
I know, yo, listen, I've been there. There comes a point again when you be like, you know what? Fuck it. Pardon my language, but take the money. I don't care no more because I'm not gonna be fighting with you all day. Do what you need to do. It comes to a point when it gets like that. Not saying that you don't care about the child, but you be like, why should I go through all this? Why should I walk through hell in order to be a father? Why are you even just taking me here? If I'm giving you money, whatsoever the case may be, and you want to go to court, that's a personal vendetta, and I don't think the system actually cares to see that. You understand what I'm saying?
But we got to understand this. This is a business first, right?
Of course. Oh yeah, talk
So,
about it.
so I think that we forget that if the agencies or these things don't make money, they close their doors. So when I was in college, I remember when I was an accountant, the first rule was this: if you don't make money, you're not going to have a business very long.
Yeah.
So we got to start understanding like this is business for them. This is not them personal. They in the business to make money. They got
Mm-hmm.
staff, they got personnel, they got operations, they got all of that, right? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we going there emotional, getting all upset when you
Mm-hmm.
gotta think through this. I tell people all the time, and this ain't the time to get out in your emotions. You get in your emotions after you win. You cry
Yeah.
for joy. You celebrate. But now it's time to put on your thinking cap.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn how to break down, look at it from Title 4D. From New York, they got the what is it called? Let me pull it up. Let me see the document. Let me see what is it called. I got some stuff that I've been. So New York has under Title 4D, they call it the New York Child Support Standard Act,
Mm-hmm.
CSSA, right? That's their thing, right? So New York has that, and what they do under that, depending on how many children you got, a lot of different things. When see, this is why I tell brothers. A lot of brothers go in there and they don't say nothing about their other kids. and they
Mm-hmm.
treat that one kid like there's no other kids.
Yep.
So they end up they have paying more, even if you ain't paying child support for those other kids. You got other kids that you got expenses for.
You
You
got to
got to
take care
show
of.
them, or you got to take care of. I'm taking
Yep.
care of these other kids.
Mm-hmm. Got
So a lot of
responsibility.
brothers don't understand how to deal with this monster, so they get themselves swept up and over ate up by this system. But if
It
you
is a
go,
monster.
so but if you know what to do, you can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? If you well prepared, you can go in there and deal with it. I don't care. I don't be caring what the judges say. I don't care what court it is, because I've been dealing with it from criminal to civil. I've been in court so much. I know how to handle myself and navigate through the process. It's I didn't have judges pull me in their chambers and say you need to go to law school.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. So everything that you know is self-studied, self-taught, right?
Yeah.
So when you go in there and you're quoting these, citing these cases, these case laws, and these references and these statutes, and now you said a judge, mentioned to you that you should go to law school. Did your words resonate in there? Where they be like, you know what, sir, we're dropping your case, Mr. King El Bey. Like, okay, you know, dismiss, you win.
So a lot of times you got to know how to argue your case.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, a lot of brothers don't have the petition or their motion with affidavits in support of their motion with their exhibits. Most
Mm-hmm.
people go in there empty handed, just talking it out. No, I
Yeah.
go and I leverage it. So, whatever I'm arguing, my remedy, I might cite the case law, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I might say the relief that I'm asking for, and then I'm gonna have an affidavit in support of motion to vacate or motion to modify or deviate or whatever I'm asking for. Then I'm going to show my exhibit. So when I filed my custody petition, I went through and I argued everything that I needed to do. I put in my custody petition, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
I had my affidavit of support that I this been acting as the sole custodial parent, blah 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 blah. Spleef, I've been showing them, and then I say, see exhibit, see this, and even in my motion, I have, okay, based on this Troxel versus Granville, I'm a fit parent, and blah blah blah. I was under de facto law. I should be deemed a de facto custodial parent based on the grounds of this. See affidavit of support, line B through line 7 through 10 or 7 through 12, and then look at and see exhibit A. I'm gonna have all my stuff in a row, so when the judge look at my paperwork, he can follow everything I'm saying. Because your job is to create a record, just in case if you have to appeal that.
Mm-hmm.
So I won several appeals where it had to be remanded back because I laid out my case so sharp that they was trying to overlook certain things that they couldn't.
Mm.
But most brothers don't have that skill set. They don't know. It took me time to understand that. Most attorneys don't even do it like that unless you're in some serious cases.
So
I
you went
learned
the
from reading.
so you went did argue case law with them. You went for your, was it visitational custody, and you
Yeah.
pulled up like a majority of visitation custody cases pertaining to yours that you can reference, and you just cited it out when the
Well,
judge
it
asked
wasn't
you to
just
speak.
that you can't just cite the case. You got
Okay.
to you got to put in your legal argument, and then your case is going to support your position, your legal position,
Mm.
right? And then you're gonna have an affidavit. You got to have a sworn affidavit stating the facts because you're coming under the penalty of perjury, and
Mm-hmm.
to establish your credibility. And then you're going to produce the exhibits that support your findings. So it ain't just you arguing your case. You're going to argue argue your case, your legal position, you're going to also use case law to support your case and
Mm-hmm.
affidavits to show the court where they can find the information and exhibits in your legal argument in your briefing.
Mm.
So you got to bust it down like that, and most brothers don't know how to do that.
All right. I gotta learn that, man. May have to talk to you after this.
Yeah, when I put it together, I put it together real tough. So, I'm gonna be honest with you. I done did a lot of work for years and years. I haven't really lost in about 8 9 years.
Damn. So, because I'm glad you mentioned. Is the child support agency? You said it's for profit, so it's a private entity within the government, right?
Well, child support is a bill collection agency.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that they're a bill collection agency. So the government, they got quasi powers through the government,
Okay.
right? So the government, through statute, through legislation, they get the authority as administrative agency to administer and take over, deal with child support. But you first, how child support really get established is through paternity. There's some
Mm-hmm.
things that I could tell you, but see, I don't want to see. I can start saying some stuff on here
And
about the paternity thing that
yeah.
could start some issues. How you could just avoid it altogether.
Mm-hmm.
It's some real life strategies you can do because they can't move until paternity is established.
Mm. I
So
heard about cases like that where somebody's not the parent, but they actually were still stuck paying.
because under this is what they call the de facto parent. You acting like the parent. You being
Mm.
so it's a lot of guys that's been raising kids probably 4 5 years. They ain't never know it wasn't their baby. They been taking care of the baby, doing all of this, right? They signed the birth certificate. So first of all, in Ohio, you got 90 days to rescind. I think in New York, I think it's 30 days to rescind the contract once you
Mm-hmm.
sign. So if you sign the birth certificate, you got 30 days to go get your signature off of there. If
Mm-hmm.
not, you the father. And then you have to file within a reasonable, let's say you find out the child ain't yours. You got to do it within a reasonable time or you're going to be stuck being the father too. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say you sign a birth certificate and then 90 days later you get a DNA test and it ain't yours. They'll go ahead and let that go. But let 2 3 4 5 years go by. No, they
Oh,
ain't
you
letting it
stuck.
go. You stuck.
Isn't that's a bit unfair? So you can't challenge that legally. That can't be
No, you
challenged, right?
can't. You can't challenge that. Now
Oh
you stuck.
wow.
You are deemed the father because you took on the role as the father, and the state is going to deem you as the father, even though you're not the biological father, but you are the father.
That is crazy, bro. Yo, this
Yeah,
system is it's a
yeah.
terrible, terrible.
You gotta act. You gotta act within due diligence. You
Mm.
can't wait 5 6 years later. The court won't let you go about doing that. They're gonna say, "Nah, you've been acting as a father. You stuck in that role."
This is why, brothers and sisters, man, be responsible out there, brothers. You wear that protection, sisters. There are other, alternative options, but you have to make sure you know who you choose to lay down with, know the outcomes, and we have to be very mindful. It's not only worrying about STDs; it's also sexual transmitted demons you got to deal with. You got to make sure that person is, as they say, equally yoked mentally, because we don't need to continue perpetuating the concept of these broken homes where people cannot co-parent with one another. You must run to the system to have them tell you how to be a parent, how to be parents. So
Right.
Man, on top of what you're doing with teaching us the legal processes and what takes place, these insights you're giving us about the child support system for both men and women, we also need to do a lot of work within the community on how to be better individuals and better before we become parents. Continue, bro.
So so I'm working with Brother Raheem. So here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm be coming up to. I was supposed to come up next month, but that speaking engagement got canceled. Um, I'm working with a lot of the community. I'm working with other outreaches and programs to help educate our people to understand certain dynamics in our community. What we got to understand is our children is the bag. We are the bag. We got, and when I say we, our children is the bag. I want us to start understanding this. Um, all of these government agencies,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're set through tax dollars to do what? Exploit our community. What do
Of
I
course.
mean? Our children, if they don't know how to read by a certain age, they're more likely to go to prison and get in
Of
trouble.
course.
If they have a lesser education, right, they're
Mm-hmm.
more likely or prone to go to prison. So what we gotta understand is our children are target. They want the youth. They want them to go to jail and work for pennies on a dollar. You see
Yep.
what I'm
Equity,
saying?
sweat equity, as they call them.
So we have to understand people are making money. This is a money scheme.
Mm-hmm.
This is about money. This is the reinvention of slavery. Y'all need to go read the book, The New Jim Crow.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name? Alexandra. She, man, it's a hell of a book. But we have to understand that we are the bag. Our children are the bag. And
Mm.
we ain't looking at it like that. They want us to keep us in this perpetuated cycle because that's money being made. Them prisons, them beds got to be filled. Some of those prisons are public, private prisons. And they get 35, 40, 50,000, whatever your state asks for that bed that's coming out of tax dollars.
And we're funding. It's basically you're funding your own demise.
You funding your own demise. You funding this. So that's the hustle. We being hustled. So as long as we keep this going, they're gonna keep making money. We spend trillions, $2 trillion annually in the United States as a people. Man, we got to put our money to use in other things. And like I said, they taxing us. You pay taxes on everything: food, gas, clothing, whatever you can think of. You paying taxes. And then they hit you with income taxes. You getting that before you even get your check. Most of us.
Yeah.
So now they're taking them same tax dollars, creating agencies to figure out how to put you in a situation where you're gonna work for little or nothing.
That's what it is. I see that. When being in and out these courts before, it's so disheartening to see that it's mostly our people within the courthouse. And again, I'm not saying there are some brothers out there who don't want to take care of their children. You know what I'm saying? But it's also, there are sisters that are careless too. But what's crazy is that no one even sat down to have a conversation or agreement. Like, where are the elders to say we shouldn't go down this route? Let's try to patch things up to make sure both sides come to an amicable agreement for the sake of the child or children. But that's never the case. It's rather go to the system and not knowing that legally you you doing this to be vindictive towards the father is you hurting the child as well, putting that father through that legal ringer. So I don't know how do you feel about that?
So we have a deeper issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where I'm gonna come in and talk about unity, right? We got to understand um, we can do all things that we want to do, but we cannot do it as an individual no more because you got to understand these agencies are not working independently. They're working with other agencies. It's a whole bunch of them. We're trying to do everything as an individual. We have to understand we got to organize and unite. We
Mm-hmm.
got to understand how to put our money together. We are community and we're dysfunctional as a community. We don't know how to do that. We don't know how to organize. No
Mm-hmm.
longer I'm trying to get my people to understand how to do that, but how to we are the resource. We got to understand that you as a person is a resource. Resources come in all types of ways, but
Mm-hmm.
the ultimate resource is human ingenuity. There's only two things on this planet that you see that make everything. God already made it, and then man put it here next. There's only them the only two. I don't see
Mm-hmm.
nobody else making or creating nothing but man and God, which God has already done.
Exactly.
So, so what we have to understand is how peace and love, brothers. What we have to understand is how to utilize us as a resource. So, I'm gonna be teaching community trust. Why? The kids will follow you, right? Because everybody is based on this image of having money and all of this. So we gotta appeal to our community by enriching our community with education, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then giving them skills, and then you get into the money because the skills is the money. The knowledge is the money. Because most of the time, if I give somebody 100,000, most of the time they don't know what to do with it. What they gonna do, brother?
They're gonna blow it. They're
They're
gonna
gonna
spend
blow
it.
it.
Exactly.
But if I give them an education and give them some skills and some training, they'll know what to do with the money. If you show them how to utilize the money, see the skills is the money. It's not the money itself. The money is just a tool. So
Mm.
the reason why we so in hardship is because we're financially and economically challenged, and we want to project and see whatever we want to do. All these things that we see on TV, and we want to do all of this stuff and live glamorous. But the reality is, if we don't work together, we're not gonna get there because the system ain't made for us to get there as a group. It's only made to get there as an individual, and they only gonna let so many of us in. It's
Mm.
never to make us in as let us in as a whole. They let us in one at a time and a few and far between.
Got
That's
you.
the game to keep us divided and to conquer. Let me keep them divided. Let me keep them fighting. Let me keep them not organizing.
Mm.
Keep their community in chaos so they can't see us. So me and you fighting, brother. How you gonna see your enemy coming? If me and you
I
fight.
I always say that. Yeah. Why the two are tussling, the third party is creeping in to take what's needed. So it's so imperative that you mentioned that, as far as a community basis and knowing the law for stepping into court. Um, from what it sounds like, and don't quote me on this, people. I don't want people to chew me up for this. It sounds like hiring an attorney for child support is like a waste of time.
No, I ain't gonna say
Is it?
that. I ain't
Is
gonna
you're
say
not gonna say
that.
that?
Man, I ain't gonna even tell.
All right,
See,
let's take
a
that.
lot. I done heard all that stuff. Oh, you
Mhm.
get an attorney, he'll turn you over to the court. His
Oh no,
legal.
no, no. I'm not going with that. No, no, I'm not going with the wordplay, but because
Yeah,
because sometimes like attorneys do play a part, depending on how much you spend on them. But
I'm gonna
it,
be honest with you.
mhm.
You pay for what you get. You go
Yeah,
get you a
exactly.
$2. You go get you a $2 attorney. You
You
go
get a
get
two
you a
dollar case.
$2 outcome.
You gotta put that money. You gotta put that money out. Yeah, man.
You gotta really spend that money. I spent 1,500. I thought I was doing something. No, the
Uh,
average child support custody case, man, they run into the thousands, 40, 50,000.
40, 50,000. Damn. All that just for the sake of your child, man.
Yeah,
Like,
they going in there spending big money, man. They going in
and I
there.
and I get it, your child, do whatever for your child, but really I must go through all that for my own flesh and blood with the mother or
It's a
father.
business. It's a business.
Yo,
We got to start understanding these are businesses and they making money. The courthouse is a business.
of course, because idiots run to I'm gonna say this. Because idiots play into their game. They go in there and they're like, I'm gonna do this and that. Looking like a bunch of dummies. Yeah, yo, I did my own. Somebody here say they did their own case. Let me see. I did my own case without spending a dime and half custody without support. Okay.
I mean, it happens. It depends. You get a right judge. You get a. I don't know what they did, but I could tell you what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing you got to remember: child support and child custody ain't they two different courts. So you the court don't care about if you ain't go establish no custody rights or nothing. So the only time, and so this is what brothers got to understand. Even if you got shared parenting, that don't mean you're gonna not pay child support.
Of course, you're still gonna pay.
So what do I mean by that? The court going to grant one of y'all the custodial parent, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to grant it to the mother
Mm-hmm.
because of these of English customs. Normally, true mothers raise their child until they become a certain age, till they become a teenager.
And often they
That's
follow, they
the
go.
And then from that, they can go from their father. That's why they ask a child when a child hit 12 or 13, depending on the state, they ask the child who they want to go with. And
Mm-hmm.
they tend to lean favor towards the child wishes. But in their nurturing age, they tend to lean towards the mother unless you can show that you a better parent. And if you can't show that you another a better parent, they tend to lean towards the mother. That's why I say keep good records. See,
Mm.
I didn't do have all the records of everything that I was doing. I had enough of the records, but I wasn't showing that my baby mama everything. Like I paid medical. I didn't show that she didn't pay half on the medical bills. I didn't show that she didn't give me half for the daycare. I just showed what I was paying. If I would went in there and had my affidavit showing that she wasn't paying nothing for 3 years, it
Mm.
would have I would have had probably a better outcome. And because I didn't know how to do it then, right? I wasn't articulated enough. I didn't know. The judge asked us, "Hey, I see Dad got all this paperwork. Why don't y'all just share custody and just leave it alone? Don't nobody have to, do." She didn't want that. She said she objected, so I had to go to trial.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? If the mother objects to shared parenting, or if the father object, that the court is going to force y'all into trial. Y'all got to sit down and agree to shared parenting.
And that's the sad thing. Sometimes it gets to that point where both can even be cordial, civil in the sense to even discuss that matter because I am caught up in my emotions and he's just like it's stupid. Like I'm sorry for talking like this. It's just that hearing these things, this is something I constantly hear within people I know, and I'm like, yo, when does it end? Like, like what
It
are we
don't.
doing?
It There's so many things I can, man. I got so many remedies. That's why when we get on the show, I told Ron I got remedies after remedies after remedies, from understanding trust law to understanding how to set up things before your child is born,
Mm,
understanding how to contract. Like so you can have a parental plan. So a lot of guys don't know, like you can have a trust. Your child could be a trust fund baby, and you can start setting stuff up. You can even get a DNA while the child is in the mama's stomach. You can
mm,
get some testing and all of that to ensure that the baby is yours. And you can start working on a plan and have her sign it, right? You allow her to sign all of these things, put the baby y'all under the trust, under the estate, and she can sign off. In the document, it must allow her to have a chance to allow the attorney to review, and if that she choose to waive it, but you got to have it in the documents. I tell brothers to have that in the document so she can have a chance. Give her 90 days. Hey, I'm gonna give you 90 days after that to go have an attorney read it. If you sign that you're gonna waive this, that's cool. Now you got a document of this, that, and the third, right? The child. So it's ways you can set up in the state, start doing business in your child's name, and start making your child earn money.
Mm.
There's so many ways, brothers, to deal with these things, but we're not educated enough to understand how to rock this out. We don't know enough.
Mm.
So we get with a woman, right? Like I'm gonna tell you how deep this get. It was I didn't read case law where basketball, football players and stuff like that, athletes that had sex with a woman and threw the condom in their bathroom garbage can. And the woman took it out, took a turkey baster and took it and impregnated herself.
Damn.
Do you know that they forced that? I read the case law. The state forced the brother still to pay child support because of why? They said once he threw the condom in the trash,
Mm.
it became public domain. Anybody can go through the trash and get it. Even
That's
if you
that.
throw it in your outside dumpster. There was a brother who wrapped it up and threw it in his outside dumpster. What happened was the female followed it, got it out the dumpster, and used it. He was an athlete, used the turkey baster or whatever, put it up herself, got pregnant. He had to pay child support
Damn,
because
man.
they said once that condom reached the garbage can, it's public domain, it's public property. Anybody can go get it.
That is devious, bro. That is that is so devious right there.
So brothers got to be aware this is real reality.
And
This is
that's why you
reality.
say you're a walking product. You're a walking you're a
Yeah,
walking producer. Damn,
yeah.
yo.
It's deep. So brothers gotta, if you got the bag, you gotta understand that. Even if you throw it in your house. So there's a lot of things you gotta do. That's why who was that put hot sauce in their condom? It was one. It was on one of them shows. The chick tried to sue him because he put hot sauce in his condom, and she got some kind of burn or infection behind that. She tried
Oh
to take.
well.
She
Oh
tried to
well.
take it. She tried to take it and do it that way. You see what I'm saying? So it really get deep, man, about this. But we got to educate our community and start understanding that we can enjoy the finer things of life if we come together. But that's only got to be that's a together thing, and we have to organize. So I'm be teaching people how to set up businesses and organize. And we got to in our community. We got to have institutions. We got to stop doing this by ourselves. We got to learn how to utilize the community trust and learn how to work together, put our money economically together, and learn how to invest together so those things come back to our community so that we can have what we need, so we can stop begging other people to give us what we want, so that we don't feel the burn of society, on our back by working hard every day. It's a way that we can do this and achieve it, but it's going to take us all together to work
Gonna
in
take
this
time,
fashion.
trust, and
Yeah.
respect. Yeah, I want you to come back, to really go in depth because what I'm sensing, like you have a lot of knowledge. You get what I'm saying? And that you mentioned that you're putting a book together. And I think it's important to give us a little preview when you get your, the documents together, like on a presentation to show brothers what they can do. Because a lot of brothers out here do need help with that situation, as you mentioned, and some others too. And as far as you saying we need to set up community trust amongst ourselves, we need to do that. And I'd like for you, with your approval, to come on this platform and do like a show, maybe a lecture on that hour or
Oh
two, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Presentation.
I can break it down. I can bring Brother Abdullah, my team, and I can show you, like, for real. I broke down. I did a trust course last year because a lot of people don't know. They talk about trust. You got to understand trust management. Trust have to be managed. There's a lot of moving parts, and you really got
Yeah.
to understand your state laws. There's a lot of stuff you got to understand. So, in the private sector, anyway, understanding how to set up a private trust, and then utilizing entities like corporations and stuff, and how to move through those, and how documents, and how to set up a will, and like it's some real play into that. Like I really got a lot of game. I'm talking about a lot of game.
Yeah.
Child support is just man. I be telling brothers, y'all still going through child support? Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm showing
Mhm.
brothers how to deal with child support. For example, brothers used to call me right, and I tell brothers never going to child support unemployed. I said,
Mm.
I said you have to learn this. So I used to teach brothers, go in there underemployed. What do you mean? Go in the court underemployed, meaning that you have a job or something, but you let making less. They cannot. The judge can't force you to go get a job, and he has to make you get money according to that outcome. I can't really give out all the game on
Nah.
here because I don't want people to use this as a way to show the court, take this clip and use it, but I could show you some game on that. And brothers
Mhm.
came out like, man, my child support was $20 a month. Thank you.
Yo.
Mama, baby mama mad. And I ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to
Yeah.
start up, but I done gave brothers the game on that. Because it shouldn't be about the money, it should be about the kids.
Exactly.
It should be about the quality of time and life that you work together with the kids. All that ugly, spiteful stuff, that's crazy. So it's ways and mechanisms. I told you from this understanding paternity to understanding underemployment to understanding other leveraging, even child custody, those type of mechanisms to leverage the game. And most brothers don't have enough, and they be listening to other brothers talking about it's fraud, and they get in the court and they get their head cracked to the
Oh yeah.
whiteboard.
Yeah. Yo, I remember there was a dude on TikTok selling some information like, yo, I got these remedies, like this vacant order, right? Send me like $400. Take care of that for you. I'm like, you know, what I mean, people in the comment section like, this dude robbed me, bro. I went to court. They laughed at me with that paperwork.
Yeah, they gonna laugh at them, and
They're like,
and
what?
I be telling brothers stop listening to these cats. Make them like I could show like I show my team. It says like on the county recorders, it says removal of lien because they put a lien on
Mm-hmm.
you, and it'll say removal of lien on this day and this day. I can show people my paperwork, removal of lien.
Mm.
So I can show you how to deal with these people. They don't post to like these people ain't supposed to come in your life and turn you upside down. They don't post to if you poor, they don't post to make you poorer. You see what I'm saying? But if you don't know how to defend against that, they're gonna turn your life upside down, brother.
Damn, King El Bey, you got to come back, my brother. Let me see. We got a minute. How can the people get in contact with you if people are seeking some kind of remedy? Where can they reach you at? I don't know if you
Um,
offering services or not, but
so you can reach me on Facebook. You go to KENG space ELBEY, King El Bey. You can reach me through Facebook. You can reach me. My direct line is 513-780-8762. I'm the author of How to Stop Child Support. I can show you so many ways of how to deal with this backwards and forwards. I'm not selling anything that I tell you. You can fact check. I'm not
mm,
giving you, I ain't selling you. I'm telling you, I can't. Some brothers, you can't get your child support um, um, removed, but maybe you can get it modified, reduced to a way where you're comfortable. Some
Mm.
brothers thinking that there's a magic bullet that's going to change the game. It don't work like that, brother.
Nah, you only fooling yourself. I appreciate it, my brother. With that being said, people, don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Super chat. Reach out to King El Bey. Let's get our communities together. Let's get our minds right. Let's learn. First and foremost, let's get our families back. That's what's happening. Too many families, although, a mother and a father may not be together, but there's still a child or children in the picture that must be raised with both parents that will need that guidance. Let's not destroy the nuclear family, man. Because no matter what, it's still family. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, NYP family, we are out. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and show that love. Peace, my brother.
Peace.
Peace.